Hello, everyone, and welcome to DEC Institute's next episode of Best Practices of Blockchain and Crypto Asset Professionals. My name is Shaz Ahmed, and I'm incredibly happy to be here today to speak with Peter Großkopf, co-founder and CTO of Unstoppable Finance. Welcome. Peter, as you know, DEC Institute has launched a charter holder program for professionals entering and working in the blockchain, crypto, and digital asset space to prove their knowledge and expertise to the likes of clients, recruiters, as well as to belong to a community of like-minded professionals working in the space. The purpose of today's interview is to get some insights into the secret practices of a blockchain leader, such as yourself, so that our charter holder candidates can get a feeling of what it means to become an industry practitioner. So without further ado, let's answer some of these questions. So maybe the first one, what's the difference between a regular enterprise professional to a blockchain professional?
Maybe a little bit of background also about myself, because I would say I'm like tech entrepreneur for quite some time now. So I have a tech background, so I did like software development in parallel to studying. Those projects became bigger. So my first company that I started in 2008 was a software development company that's like which did professional software development. I did that for 5 years. Then I came to Berlin as sold a company and came to Berlin, joined a company builder as a CTO, and my team was kind of building a few projects in a row, especially then in the finance space. So doing a lot of project development for Finleap, which is like a fintech company builder. Then we, from Finleap, we started a bank, which is called Solaris Bank. So we founded the bank from scratch, and I was able to move in as one of the co-founders and also CTO on that, which made me a banker back in the days. But again, kind of core of it for me was really building up the technical infrastructure and also the tech culture of that company. So being kind of like entrepreneur again, but like in a different field. And from there, it evolved over time. So I got in touch with crypto technology and blockchain end of 2016, beginning of 2017, asking me what's the effect of blockchain to a bank? Because if people can become their own banks by holding their money in their wallets, like in a non-custodial way, this means it's disruptive for us as a bank. So I wrapped my head around it and kind of got soaked into that space because I found it so fascinating. Kind of like all these, let's see, new primitives of how financial service infrastructure can look like if you have like a permissionless blockchain, like a decentralized database that everyone can use and where everyone can do transactions from A to B and interact with it without knowing each other. So that was kind of when I came into the blockchain space. After Solaris Bank, I was hired as an MD for Börse Stuttgart to build up Börse Stuttgart Digital Exchange, which is like a digital assets and cryptocurrency trading lot or like exchange, and we built it up, and now it's Unstoppable Finance, which is a project in DeFi where we want to bring decentralized finance to the masses by creating an app which makes it super easy to interact multi-chain with different decentralized finance products. And so kind of like I said, so it's me, especially now being active in many different roles. So kind of started my first tech company, then we started a bank, and now it's a blockchain company. And the difference between all of them, I think, so like the differences are, the blockchain space is definitely way more technical than any other space that I've ever seen in companies or in startups, because so the kind of like the underlying principles and the idea of decentralization and being permissionless, having source code, open source kind of when you deploy it in smart contracts, that's really, really new. And this kind of transparency it's not applied to any other business in the past, where like entrepreneurs try to hide their IP and try to be as unpublic as possible. And I think that's really something that the people need to learn, applied or implied with this high degree of technologization is that there's a lot of automation happening. Kind of so if transactions are settled on the blockchain and kind of like each transaction is also submitted to it, you can automate a lot. Yeah, so that's kind of like almost any step, getting access, signing something, connecting your wallet, doing a transaction, swapping funds, and so on and so forth. It's all in the end automated and done in a technical way, so no human interaction anymore. So that's I think also very new, because usually entrepreneurship is also really about building organizations, handling kind of growth problems that occur when kind of the team size goes over 50 people and you don't know everyone's names anymore. It's very difficult to keep things secure, the data privacy and so on and so forth. It's really kind of like this challenge of scaling an organization is really not that complicated anymore, because you can build really big applications, like with a very low amount of people, because it's mostly tech people building software. And I think another challenge, and then I'm sure I could name a few more, but one that I also think is very, very important to know when going to the blockchain crypto, or when being a crypto asset professional, it's the fast development of the markets. Because so if I think back, so when I came to crypto in 2016, beginning of 2017, that's just like 5 years ago, right? And so to see like how much development we've seen already. So there was Bitcoin, there were other blockchains coming up, then different consensus mechanisms, the whole smart contract development with decentralized finance, and now having different protocols, layer 2 blockchains, so on and so forth. It's really crazy how fast the markets are developing. And if you look into the banking space, for example, implementation of Target 2, like SEPA Insta transactions, like instant transactions, like from the specification to implementation in banks, like it took decades to bring it there, and like real time money remittance is still not the default when doing a transaction on the banking infrastructure. And if I see just how much development we've seen in the blockchain space, like within just these 5 years, that's really insane. And so really to pick up and or keep up to stay up to date about all the news, that's really a challenge.
Wow. Okay. And so what would you say are the best practices when running a blockchain project?
Well, from my point of view, it's really about like staying open, like in many relations. Because on the one hand, so there's these fast developments in the market. So if you stay like flexible and open, also kind of like to change your plans like accordingly to the developments that happen along the way. I think that's really required, because so in the end, you want to build services and products that serve a need, like for some people, and especially kind of like a need that was not discovered before. And kind of if the market change, you need to change as well. And I think that's very important. Like I said, when the markets are developing so fast, it's way more important than kind of like living the lean startup way like 10 years ago, because so that was definitely different times. I think it's very important to hire remote, because also in the crypto and the blockchain space, the idea of the DAO, like decentralized autonomous organizations, so which is, let's say, a way to organize as a team where the team members probably also even don't know each other or have never seen or never met, is something which is used by many protocols that were developed in the DeFi space. And I think this idea of hiring remote talent, having people like working worldwide, probably never met in person, probably you will never meet like all together in person. I think that's new normal. And now after the whole COVID situation, it definitely accelerated also in that direction. So for example, we at Unstoppable So we have like people working from like different countries, even different continents, and this works very, very well together. And we really want to make sure that that this way of working together will really remain forever. Therefore, we really push for remote culture and really live it very openly. And then last but not least, I would say when you're the crypto asset, or when you run a crypto asset project, you definitely always need to monitor the legal situation around you and the regulation around you, because so for example, the crypto trading space got regulated pretty quickly. So for example, in Germany there's now like a crypto custodian license for quite some time already. So you need to apply for that to be able to offer crypto trading in Germany. But for example, decentralized finance is kind of white space right now, because regulators really need to wrap their head around about the changed roles that are interacting in there with each other. So to really come up with a proper definition for regulation. Therefore, as kind of like you're able to attract customers worldwide. This really means that you somehow need to monitor worldwide what's happening on the regulation side, because so you want to, of course, really push or be like progressive and push innovation, but in the end you don't want to break laws, and therefore you need to monitor it very closely.
Wow, thank you. And so, I mean, how did you, as a blockchain professional now and a very reputable industry leader, gain all this knowledge that you have today?
Yeah, so as you're saying, like DeFi book, I think it's very complicated to read a DeFi book, because once it's published, it's already old, right? So because of the quick changes in the market. And so for me, it worked pretty well. So I, first of all, like Twitter is a super important source of information, kind of look for, let's say, the opinion leaders in the crypto space. And for example, I really like the tweets of Chris Dixon, for example, from A16Z, and really follow the threads that they're publishing there. It's like very insightful. At the same time, from my point of view, the second most important source is Medium. So I trained my Medium profile over the past years really on serving me the newest blockchain news, and like different projects starting, explaining what they're doing, and so on. So that helped me to kind of, I really read a lot of stuff, also a lot of different stuff. And in the end, so it like always like it puts some light here, some light there, some light there, some light there, and then someday you somehow get the relationships between the different topics and really understand the whole space. So I think Medium is great. Of course, it's also like training programs and certifications, university classes, and so on and so forth. So I think to learn from the experts and kind of also do some interaction, some conversation on those topics is definitely very helpful. And on that regard, also looking for meetups like in the local community, or doing some networking, reaching out to some people in the crypto space, meeting them, talking to them, and just getting ideas. I think that's kind of like in the end, there's not the one thing that like solves anything. So it's really about like the combination of different things. But in the end, it needs to be an active process of yourself of moving into the space, because first you need to get onboarded, and then you need really get like up to speed with all the developments. And that's that's quite it's quite a job to get in there. But once you're in there, it's super fascinating. And as it's about really building not only the foundational infrastructure for finance for the future, it's really kind of like this whole development of Web3 and decentralizing also kind of data and data privacy logins, so that people in the future will have their login name like in a non-custodial wallet, doing a login in a social network site through this, and probably even storing also the data with the wallet. I think these developments will come, and therefore it's definitely worth looking into it right now, because it will have a big future.
Fantastic. Peter, do you have any final words to those listening today that are looking to take part in a DEC Institute course?
So like I said, I think it's a really fascinating space, and I can really recommend everyone to have a look into it. And when signing up for your courses, I think that's definitely also one of the first steps that you can do. And so I also see this as like an opportunity, like to give speeches, for example, really to share the knowledge, because I think it's super important that projects like yours, but also each individual is really doing like a little bit of education, like in their networks, and really educating people about the potential of it and how this all works. Because so it's like it might lead a very disruptional wave, kind of like the next wave of disruption. Maybe even Google and Facebook might struggle with decentralized advertising infrastructure in the future and so on. So therefore, I think it's very relevant to look into it and being a part of it.
Wow, wonderful. Well, Peter, thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.